It's been said exclusivity doesn't pay the bills. Turning down big crowds, walking away from the sure thing is something very few have the courage to do, and even fewer get to do it successfully. Exclusivity is more often than not a privilege that comes with heritage, so for a newcomer to claim it is rarely heard of. As the world of microbrands seems to grow in numbers with every passing year, it also looks like it's shrinking down to repetitive iterations of the same safe choices. Same designs, same calibers, same prices. As a consequence, many watch collectors have become just consumers, just getting their fix one watch at a time. The microbrand scene has fallen victim to its own success. Or has it? Amongst the 30-plus companies that turned Singapore into the Switzerland of the Far East, a hotbed of horology that's currently the fifth watch exporter of the world, Etien, founded only a couple of short years ago, have courageously claimed a spot not usually associated with microbrands: the entry-level luxury market. Priced at $1,500, the T2 has to meet lofty standards set by its stiff competition. Unspectacular in essence, the case of the T-02 does a good job of planting it firmly in the dress watch category, both through its dimensions and construction. Its 39mm diameter plays within the recent tendency of finding a compromise between the classic 36 and the 42 of the last few decades, but it's the height of the Etien piece that stands out at just 9mm. That, however, means there's not much room for fancy transitions or multi-volume architecture, so a brushed midsection is delimiting the top from the bottom of the case. The latter sports a sapphire exhibition porthole that lets one peer at the ETA 7001 caliber powering the watch. I'm not entirely convinced by this choice, as the movement is not particularly great to look at, and its petite footprint means the stainless steel case enclosure is too big for this type of watch. But most of the time we'll be looking at the top part of the case, and the bulbous, donut-shaped bezel's polishing brings in the touch of sophistication commanded by the dial it surrounds. Of course, the dial of the T-02 is what will tip the scale in a buying decision. By opting for a tuxedo style, Etien have drawn a buffer zone between the polished bezel and the lacquered center of the dial. Made of a copper alloy known as German silver, the dial is actually a 1.6mm disc finished using two different methods. The chapter ring is engraved into a brushed ring showcasing German silver's natural hue, which, we're told, will eventually develop a honey-like patina. The modern numerals sit inside of a dotted circle, helping keeping track of the minutes. The 6 o'clock marker is replaced by a rather crude logo. I'm not particularly impressed with any of this logo's characteristics. The font does not reflect the character of the watch, while the text itself seems to be just microns off-centered and seems to have a minuscule downward curvature. Fortunately, I can assure you that on the wrist, the logo doesn't stand out. And that has plenty to do with the fact that it's impossible to keep my eyes away from the center of the dial, beautifully finished using the Flinke technique. This means that the German silver is CNC machined to get the intricate guilloche pattern, which is then treated to a few layers of liquid enamel. Each layer is heated up to precisely control temperatures in order to ensure bonding, and any cracks that might appear during this operation would render the dial useless. What differentiates the T-02 from most other guilloche dials is its spiral design that tricks the eye into sensing movement. And this effect is really needed as this is a two-hander. This, in turn, is an expression of adapting the design of the watch to the caliber inside. Besides powering models from grades such as Longines, Nomos or Stova, the ETA 7001 has also seen extensive use by various microbrands for their models priced around $1,000. Christopher Ward, Farrer, Zelos, Ver or Feynman have all taken advantage of this caliber's small footprint. However, this is a small seconds type of movement, and integrating such a sub-dial into Etien's design would have been impossible. Therefore, the Singapore designer's decision to scrap the seconds hand altogether solved this problem, but led to a couple of aspects potential picky customers might have issues with. You can watch my review of the Rotary Cambridge, another two-hander, by clicking the link above. I motivated my selling of that watch by what I perceived as a frigid dial, making for a watch that just stares back at you every time you look at it. The Etien timepiece, however, as I just pointed out, has the benefit of a dynamic dial that circumvents this issue, at least for me. There's plenty going on to the point that when I first saw this watch, I didn't even notice the absence of the seconds hand. The other aspect is not really knowing if the watch is running or not while on the wrist. The Rotary is a quartz timepiece guaranteeing a couple of years of power reserve, but the T-02 being powered by a manually wound caliber could stop ticking on one's wrist without a notice. Except this is not an issue now, is it? This is a dress watch, one for the big occasions and not an everyday beater. One is bound to take it off the box, wind it, slip it under the cuff, and then a few hours later reluctantly placing it back on the display cushion. And I said reluctantly because while I'm not sure how well it would sit on a smaller wrist, on my 19cm wrist it looks just like it belongs. And that's partly due to the crazy horse straps quality. It doesn't exactly match the color of the dial, and its nubuck texture contrasts with the polished surfaces of the watch, yet it rounds up nicely a package that looks just like a modern dress watch should, without any of the faux vintageness pretentiousness many modern timepieces are guilty of. So, is this a watch to avoid, consider, shortlist, or simply buy? Being priced out of my budget, I can't simply state this is a must. However, considering the limited number of alternatives, the T-02 shortlists itself. Off the top of my head, I can think of two somewhat similar watches providing competition in the same price bracket. Feynman's one, which incidentally is powered by the same ETA 7001, and Albert Villa's Eternal. Regardless of your decision, tune in next week for a new chapter of my quest to find the watch you want.